Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey everyone, this is Turk 182.
And Acomi.
And welcome back to what's the name of our show again? No. Welcome back to Our Moms Think We're Funny. So today we are going to talk about superpowers.
Yeah.
All right. So our conversation about superpowers.
Pretty sure they aren't real.
Well, okay, so that's a great segue into this. So this all started out as I had this idea, and I'm listening to NPR, which I'm prone to do because I'm an old man, and there was this thing that happened on NPR, and I just flipped out. I lost my shit. I'm sitting there in my car, in the carport, like yelling at the radio, and I got so pissed I was like, "Fuck this show!" And I turned off the car and I went inside the house. All right. Because I've been known to do that. I come home from work and I'm listening to something. It could be like the Moth Radio Hour or Snap Judgment or something. And I'm like, and you know, it's like I just drove like, you know, the 40 minutes home. My bladder is screaming at me, right? But I'm like, I just gotta hear the last of this, right? And sometimes it feels like maybe like a Snap Judgment, or it's not the TED Talks. I don't really listen to those. Sometimes those are good. Sometimes those bore me.
They're really hit and miss.
Yeah. I mean, not that the information is not good, but sometimes just don't captivate me. It would I'll be listening to a Moth story, and I'll tell you what. Sometimes I love the Moth Radio Hour, but sometimes those stories are they'll tell a story and then we stopped, and I got out of the car, and he drove off. Thank you. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait. I'm like, and then my bladder is like, wait, you're stretching me to the gills for this. That's it. I'm just gonna let go all over your seat. You deserve it. I'm like, it's not my fault. We'll do it in a bottle. I'll cap it and I'll mail it to her and be like, this, you know. Speaking of which, though, have you noticed that when you really have to go to the bathroom, the closer you get to the bathroom, the more you have to go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand that phenomenon. Like, it's weird. Like, I could be walking towards it, and all of a sudden it's like, I really gotta go. But if I start walking backwards, I'm like, it's almost like if I kept walking backwards like another block, like the orange juice I had would start coming back out of my mouth, like I'm Superman flying around the world backwards.
It's because keeping your bladder contained is like flexing a muscle. So when you see that relief coming in sight, the muscle wants to reprieve itself.
So they say that if you rub the back of your knee, right, it'll kind of make the sensation lessen. Right.
I have never heard that.
Yeah. So next time you have to go, if you just kind of rub the back of your knee. So I actually got a pretty good Indian burn one day from just gotta hold on till you get there. Now I tell you right now,
I honestly kind of feel like you're just telling me this to bullshit me.
No.
To make me look stupid because people are gonna be like, "Why are you rubbing the back of your knee?"
Well, I would hope you wouldn't do it in public. Like you sit on the bus and everything, just rubbing the shit out of your back of your knee. Like, I gotta go. Just use the bathroom on the bus. Have you been to the bathroom on the bus?
Look at that guy. I bet that's some kind of weird sex thing. But he's a pervert.
You're like pinching your dick with one hand and rubbing the back of your knee with the other.
Yes, Daddy likes.
And that is why I can never ride the public bus again. We wouldn't even talk about the library. So yeah, no, seriously, that's supposed to be a real thing, and it kind of works, But yeah, anyway, just so anyway, so this thing was happening on the Moth Radio, and I was just like, and I lost my shit. But so going back to superpowers aren't real. I remember as a kid, I would. Read a lot of comic books because, I love comic books. And I remember I would always try to I knew that superpowers weren't real per se, right? But you always hear about things like people like bending spoons with their minds. What was that the Russian guy that could do that?
Shit, I know who you're talking about, but I cannot remember his name.
Lenny Bruce or something? No, it's
For some reason, my brain is fixating on the name John Wayne Gacy, and I know that's the clown killer guy. So I'm not in a good.
He was bending different kinds of spoons.
Yeah, I'm not in a good position mentally to try to remember names right now.
But the first thing that pops in your mind is John Wayne Gacy.
I'm telling you, man, it's been a bad week. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Wait, okay, we gotta stop right here.
I just really want to guss up like a clown and kill somebody.
Okay, there we go. That's what I was trying to get to. I'm like, it's been a bad week, so what's first thing popping in your mind is John Wayne Gacy. I'm like, oh, okay, oh, wow.
Somebody give me a Rorschach test.
I am so glad I don't have crawl spaces in my walls. And I think we had a conversation about John Wayne Gacy once before. With it's like it's like so I kill all these people and I buried them down in the basement. What about this one? That one's not mine. Does someone else just happen to know you were like burying the bodies of like guys in here? And decide they just add one to it.
Frankie, where are we going to store this body? I don't know. Just check under this crossface. Hey,
yeah,
this is actually a pretty good spot.
It's like the serial killer's version of I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Like I killed all those guys, but not that motherfucker. Anyway, so
Russian guy.
Yeah,
Russian spoonbender, John Wayne Gacy.
I don't know why I can't think of the guy's name. It's like it's escaping me. It's because we always like do our recordings at like the butt ass crack of dawn.
Yeah,
and then we can never remember shit. Or we get things all wrong. Like like Leonard Elmore. I'm like, no, his name is fucking Elmore Leonard. As many times as I've watched Out of Sight and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't know how I could mess that up. But anyway, as a kid, I would sit there and I was like, I knew that these things weren't real, but you always still believe.
Geller.
Uri Geller. Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
I googled that. I'm not remembering stuff that well.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna remember that. That was completely off of what I was thinking. But that some people can do extraordinary things, and it's almost one of those things where like, yeah, I know that this isn't something that happens, right? But there's always a first. There's always someone that's a little bit different. So I would actually try to I would do things like stare at like light bulbs, not like like burn out my retinas kind of thing, but like if I was out somewhere or whatever, I would kind of stare and see if I could dim the light. And of course, sometimes the light would actually dim because like the wattage changes a little bit,
right.
and it'd be like, I was like, oh, I just got to concentrate a little bit harder. I almost had it that time, and just little things like that.
I used to try to use the Force when I was a kid.
Because if you focus on something, right, and you focus real hard and your eyes start to squint, it looks like it's getting darker. And you're like, holy shit, my powers are working.
Finally.
And then I had a Peter Parker moment, like from Spider-Man 2.
You got bit by a spider?
Huh?
Did you get bit by a spider?
No, I got bit by a mosquito earlier, though. My arm swole up like on this one side right here, and it looked like I had a knot on it. It was, because I don't know why it's happened to me in mosquitoes, but it would be like a little thing, and then it'll turn into this like kind of big blotchy thing, and then it'll just swell up, and then it goes right back down. You can't even tell that it was there.
Wow.
But it's just weird. But anyway, I brought that up because I was going to show you, like, look, I still got the knot, but it's all gone now. But no, so Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker, I'm not going to be Spider-Man anymore, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then when he's in doubt, it was kind of a cool plot concept, but at the same time, it was like you're not like Gladiator from the Imperial Guard, the Shi'ar. You're Spider-Man. Whether you believe you have powers or not, they're still freaking there.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then of course after Doc Ock kidnaps Mary Jane, and he steps outside and he's got his glasses on and things are like kind of all weird looking. He takes them off and of course his eyesight is back to, again, interesting concept. Doesn't really work, but
right.
So I had the Spider-Man moment one day. I was getting ready. This was years ago. I was getting ready to go to work, or no, I wasn't even going to work. I was going somewhere, and I put my glasses on, and it was like, and everything became blurry. And I was like, what was like, why are things blurry, right? And I took my glasses off and I looked, and I was like, everything was in focus, right? And I was like, whoa, holy shit! Oh, I slept with my contacts in. Son of a bitch!
It's like you drop to the ground and start doing push-ups, and then you realize, like, oh yeah, contacts.
Yeah, and I was, because that's not something I ever did. I never slept with my contacts, and I always took them even before I was wearing dailies, right? I would always, take them and put them in the solution, stuff like that. But I guess I was just so tired that night I fell asleep, and I was like, I don't need to wear glasses anymore. Ah, son of a bitch. So anyway, so before I get into like what superpower would you want and all that kind of stuff, I got to go to this NPR story. So. And I didn't listen to the whole story. So if you guys pull it up and go to, I think it was This American Life. No, it was Radiolab. It was Radiolab, I think, right?
Okay.
And I kind of like Radiolab, except for the two guys that keep interrupting all the time. Because the person be telling the story and see like, so, and then that's when you discovered the formula. Right. So I was sitting there at the blackboard. A blackboard is a thing that teachers use to write stuff on. And it was like, why? I mean, he's constantly interrupting. It's like, and then that's when she asked this question here. So what would happen if you multiplied x by the third equation, blah, blah, blah. And then the answer is, and so she gave the answer. I'm like, dude, will you let her tell the fucking story? Stop interrupting. So this guy was talking about how he's like, he started doing this new thing at gatherings, right? Where instead of like, having the same, boring chit chat of like, hey, my name's Joe, what do you do? It's like plastics, that's interesting, right? Plastics. He would ask him, if you could, have a superpower, right? Either flight or invisibility, and you're the only person in the world that would have this, what would you choose? And why? All right?
Yeah.
So they had a couple people that gave their answers and stuff, and he's like, there's one girl, no, I'm sorry. They actually asked some people, and the one guy said he's like, I choose flight. And he's like, the first thing I would do is I'd fly down to the bar, see what's going on. Then I fly back home, get my son, and fly him over to a doctor's appointment. I'm like, wait, you fly to the bar and see what's going on? You're just gonna fly to the bar? Right? That's like me saying, I'm gonna like fly to the whorehouse and just see what's going on. I'm not gonna fuck anybody. I'm just gonna see what's going on. No, you're gonna fly to the bar and you're gonna get some drinks and you're gonna be flying while under the influence, and then go home and pick up your son, your infant son, right? And then like boo, like mid '80s Iron Man, and like crash into shit. I was like, okay, so I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. That's so fucking stupid, right? It's like the first thing you do is like, you've got a problem, son. You need like the 12 steps. Seriously.
It's also like so mundane. It's like, what's the first thing you're gonna do with your superpowers? Like, I want to go down to the 7-Eleven, get myself a Slurpee.
Right. It is
cherry flavored.
And I'm like, I was like, dude, do I need to call Jennifer Garner on you? I mean, seriously, right? Oh, low blow.
We specialize in those.
Damn it, I told him to stop doing that. Jeez, fucking Ben, why would you disappoint me like that? Anyway, sorry for those of you that have no idea what that is. It's podcast, listen to. I've talked about it to death, so I'm not going to, maybe I'll mention it at the end of this one, right? But anyway, so, yeah, Ben Affleck. Maybe I'll have to do like a whole thing on Ben Affleck and like,
we can get an episode out of that.
Well, no, just like why I like Ben Affleck.
Oh, well.
Well, I guess I can't.
Yeah, we're recording this like the day that we found out about the whole rehab situation, so.
And I'm great he's going into rehab and stuff like that. It's the Weinstein stuff that I just have an issue with.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
So I don't even know who my favorite actor is anymore. Bruce Willis is out because he's a cockbag, yeah. and Ben Affleck, I just don't really know. But it's we had the conversation like, hey, if all of a sudden your dream was handed to you, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, would you risk losing that. Anyway, that's a whole philosophical thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, they asked this girl, like, what she said she would choose invisibility. And the first thing she would do was, like, go down to some fancy-ass department store, and she would get, like, 5 of these sweaters that she wanted, right? Because you can only take 5 items into the dressing room at a time. She'd take them in there, put them on, turn invisible, and then walk out. And leave them wondering why there's 5 empty hangers back there and no one in the dressing room. And they said, well, how, and she said she would do that until she got all the sweaters she wanted. And I'm thinking, sweaters? Sweaters. Okay, wait. I mean, how many sweaters do you fucking need? What are you, like the female Bill Cosby? I mean, so, and they said, well, then what'd you do? She's
You
like,
seem stressed. Drink this. It'll help you relax.
so, and then they was like, then what would you do? And she's like, oh, and then I would, I don't know, I'd find something else. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so as soon as you get invisibility, the first thing you're gonna do is go steal some shit.
Go to the 7-Eleven.
I'm like, wait. I'm like, so basically, what that tells me is that, right, you're a thief.
Yeah.
You're a
absolutely.
thief. You may not have invisibility superpowers, right? But the idea of that, as long as you can get away with it, you're gonna steal shit, right? That means that right now you're already stealing shit and getting away with, whenever you think you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Whether it's something small like stealing a pen from a restaurant or, some sugar packets or whatever it is, you're already stealing stuff. You're a fucking deplorable human being, right? So then this is what leads me into like the rant part that had me screaming in my car. The guy says, the one thing that no one ever says is, I'm going to use my superpowers to fight crime. And that's
Right.
when I fucking lost it. So I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
No one ever said that they would use their superpowers to fight crime.
I'm not really surprised hearing that. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
I am not surprised, and I'm also not disappointed because the 2 options you had were turn invisible or fly. I can't fight crime if all I do is turn invisible.
That's true.
What the fuck am I gonna do?
I'm gonna hide and call the police.
Right. I mean, now, granted, if there's a hostage situation, right, me turning invisible and sneaking in there, whatever, okay, that might be cool. But what else am I going to be able to do?
Yeah, there's not really a lot of combat application to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could, like, join the FBI and go undercover as an invisible man kind of shit. But, I mean, but really, fight crime as Batman or something like that, or Invisible Batman? I mean, I can't do anything. All you think I can do is fucking turn invisible.
Yeah.
I'm not like the Invisible Woman where I can create invisible force fields and shit like that, right?
Right.
All I do is turn invisible, and I guess if I'm wearing some clothing, whatever, there may be some kind of like an aura field around me that will allow those things to turn invisible too. Not to mention, right, that the one thing that they never talk about in any of these things, and I understand why they don't, because in order for... You don't want to get too scientific with these things, right? There's a certain, suspension of disbelief, and people buy into that. It's like, even though they kind of explain some of it away in certain things or whatever, the Hulk gets really, really big, but yet his pants don't rip completely off. Now, that being said, I've seen some size 10 women try to put on some size 4 pants, and they haven't just split all the way up the seams. Thank God, right? But I'm just saying. I mean, so there's a lot of of suspension of disbelief when you think about these things. But when it comes to invisibility, if you turn completely invisible, you can't see, because you see things because the light reflects off the object. It goes into your eyeball and then projects. But if you're invisible, that light just passes right through you. So if you turn invisible, you are blind. So the only way you'd be able to do that and be able to help out anyway is if you had such precise control that you could just make just your pupils in that part of your eye solid. In which case, it would look like two little black bugs, like flying, you know, like across the room, straight without any kind of deviation, not like buzzing up and down. Or you just have your eyeballs completely there, which would just look really fucking weird in a hot situation where things are already tense. All of a sudden, there's just two big floating eyeballs, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna just start shooting motherfuckers, right? Because I'm like, there are two floating eyeballs.
I would be pretty freaked out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's just stupid. So let's go to the other one. You can fly. So that's one of the things that I've never when. In the comic books, in X Factor, when they turned Angel into Archangel, I thought that was the best thing ever. Because before that, he was nothing but a big flying target.
Right.
There are people right now that practice shooting Angel every day for sport or for food, right?
Yep.
It's like, we're going to go duck hunting, right? That's basically just, you know, practicing shooting Angel on a smaller scale.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if all I do is fly, well, I'm just a big flying target.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I can't just like pick you up and start trying to carry you. I'm not that strong. We might get like 40 feet up in the air. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm gonna have to let you go.
Yeah.
Some hero I am. Right?
Yeah.
So what?
So yeah, I mean, people don't really think about that. That like having one superpower does not mean that you have all the superpowers. You don't get super strength with that. You don't get super durability.
So it was like the whole thing was like, and it immediately just drove me. I just like erupted like Vesuvius. I'm like, it's like no one ever talks about, you know, using their powers. Like, you fucking can't do that with that. Now, if you said, you know, like, you know, you're invulnerable, like, you know, you can like, you know, lift like 2 tons or whatever. Yeah, okay, I can see fighting crime with that. Invisibility or flight. That's like saying my ability is to, like, you know, change the colors on shit. I'm like,
Right.
well, I mean, what the? No, you can't fight crime with that.
Your shirt is blue now.
That's right.
I mean, maybe he's thinking in more like mundane terms as far as like crime fighting. Like, if you could turn invisible, you could spy and stuff, and you know, record conversations, whatever. So you could like fight corporate crime. That still sounds like really weak. But
I'm gonna tell you right now, if
I don't know why I'm giving this guy the benefit of the doubt.
if I could turn invisible and I was, okay. So I mentioned this to a guy at work, and I said, you know, it depends. Like, if it was 15-year-old me, right, I would choose invisibility over flight. I would, because 15-year-old me would like locker room.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You know. But you know, current age me, invisibility doesn't really hold anything for me. I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
now I would make one hell of an assassin,
Yeah.
which would also be a bad thing
Well,
because I'm just like, you know what? That guy's really pissing me off. And Slid, they turn invisible. That motherfucker's gotta die. It'd be a lot of dead people all over the place.
yeah. I mean, that could be a problem.
Now, if I could turn other things invisible too, right? That would be fun.
Yeah, his terms are really generic. His terms are like really, really generic.
Because I would like freak people out, like, you know, like make doors invisible and watch people walk into them. Yeah, that
I guess
kind
I
of-
could see like convincing people that their house is haunted.
Oh man, that would be good.
That would be pretty jacked, especially if it was somebody you really hated. You know, I wouldn't necessarily have to kill somebody if they were just a prick who I really wanted to mess with.
Yeah, now that would be fun, just doing some stuff like that. Now I would choose flight though, because you know,
Same.
just going somewhere, you know, like hey, look, I don't have to worry about gas anymore. You know, I can just fly wherever I want to. And yeah, here's the bad thing though, right? That they never talk about this in any kind of movies or comic books or whatever. So let's say that right now you had the power of flight, okay?
Okay.
And you were going to fly home. How would you do it?
If I were going to fly, I'd want to make sure that I had goggles to protect my eyes and some kind of a helmet.
Okay.
and I wouldn't...
Yay, I'm flying!
Look at me, guys. Well, no, just like, I mean, I've had like pieces of gravel hit my car windshield. I can only imagine that happening to my forehead. So I would want to make sure that wasn't going to happen. Maybe like a motorcycle helmet. That
You got a
wouldn't-
fine brain, Jack.
That would. That's to say, I mean, the motorcycle helmet wouldn't make me look too special. So,
Except for you flying through the air with a motorcycle helmet on.
But as far as like the how, I mean, I wouldn't want to go too high, but I also wouldn't want to run the risk of like getting hit by traffic or anything. So I'd find nice middle ground height.
Well, I mean, yeah, you couldn't fly too high because you wouldn't have the oxygen to breathe.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, I guess I'd be high enough to clear the treetops and whatnot and buildings, and I'd go as close to a straight line as possible.
So that's what I'm getting at here, is a straight line to where?
To wherever I need to go, I guess.
And how do you know where that is?
Google Maps.
Google Maps when flying?
Well, not while I'm flying. I just need to know, okay, fly east for X amount of time.
Well, see, that's the thing. So, like, if I pull up my Google Maps, right, it's going to tell me foot speed, right?
Right.
And then driving speed. Now, one thing I know is going to piss me off is when I'm flying and it's like, watch your speed, because I'm doing like 200 through the air. Not to mention, of course, you got to worry about like wind shear too. So your clothes can be ripped to shit. Not to mention all the bugs are going to be in your teeth. But so
Well, motorcycle helmet prevents that.
I was going to say, yeah, I'd probably have to put on a whole motorcycle suit though.
Probably. But, I mean, those don't look too stupid.
Yeah, they don't.
So, I mean, you could get away with it.
I'd have to get one that looks just like the brides in, and Kill Bill. But
See, I was thinking like Night Watcher from the Ninja Turtles movie.
oh, yeah,
Not the big metal turtle shell, but just like that whole black jumpsuit was pretty cool.
Night Watcher. But that's the thing. So, like, I'm pulled up here and I'm like, okay, I got to go this way. But when I'm flying, though, I don't really know when to stop or anything else.
Well, I mean,
Because if I'm going in a straight line, I've never gone in a straight line that way.
yeah.
So unless I'm used to traveling that way, I'd actually have to fly the same route if I was driving and follow the highway because I wouldn't know how to get there any other way.
I mean, that I can see that being a problem, like going out of state and places like that. But as long as you're in like familiar territory, it wouldn't be too hard. It would be a bit of a learning curve, but
There definitely would be a bit of a learning curve.
like, I don't know. I mean, most of my life, I don't go more than 2 hours away from home. So I think I could learn the lay of the land within a reasonable amount of time, within 6 months.
Yeah. But
Now, as far as like going, 2 states over, yeah, that wouldn't happen. That would be extremely problematic. But
yeah, because if I'm gonna fly but still follow the road, that's pointless. Plus, I'm used to driving like at 65, 70 miles an hour down the highway.
Yep.
Now I'm flying at 150. So I'm gonna be passing those familiar landmarks, at twice the speed I normally would.
true, yeah.
Unless, of course, I go slow enough so I see them, which then defeats the purpose of me flying to begin with. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so I was just like, that whole thing just like really made me angry because I'm like, do you even understand how this works? I don't think you do.
I get the feeling this is a guy who's never read a superhero comic. I mean, that's what I'm gonna go with. Like his grasp of superpowers was like maybe watching a couple episodes of the Justice League when he was a kid, and I don't think that his grasp on that view of the world really goes beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of guy that would let anybody into like the Legion of Superheroes. Like,
Right.
Bouncing boy, matter eater lad, come on in.
Yeah, I mean, just like, and what tells me that is the fact that his choice of superpowers are invisibility and flight. It's like you said, I mean, you're not even giving us the option of super strength. I don't think this guy is a reader.
And it's kind of weird, that'd be like me saying, okay, hey, so if you could be the best professional athlete, right? Mm-hmm. The world's best professional athlete, which sport would you want to be the best at?
Yeah.
Like I have nothing to add to that conversation at all because I'm not a sports person. So
Right.
even if you were like, I want to be the best tennis player. Okay, why? Well, because I'm like, okay. I mean, like I got nothing to add to that at all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and really, like based off of what this guy's doing, it's more like, oh, if you could be a great athlete, would you rather be a great basketball player or a great football player?
Yeah, it's like I don't know which one gets more bitches. I'd have to take basketball player. They get fewer concussions.
I think they get like different types of bitches, each of them. I would probably go with basketball player.
You know what? I wonder if we could get a research grant for that to kind of see, like, if you, well, we have to, when we wrote up our thesis, we wouldn't be able to say, like bitches, like, which athletes get which kind of bitches. But no, I'm serious. Like, they, as a professional athlete, right? Is there a difference in the kind of spouse that you get, based upon your sport? Like if I'm a, like in the top 10 of like golfers, right? Mm-hmm. I'm probably not going to have the same kind of like golf bitch that I would if I was like, like the top 10 basketball player, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm still a very well-known, high paid athlete.
I'm trying to remember what Tiger Woods' wife looked like.
You know what? I never really cared for her.
I can't remember. I don't remember thinking
Ellen
she was...
Nordgren or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember thinking she was too much to sneeze at, but...
No, she didn't really... To me, she just looked like any other blonde chick. Now, I'm not trying to put blondes down, but I'm just saying she didn't look like anything special. I mean...
Okay, as soon as I hit Tiger W, the first suggested thing on my search was Tiger with Down syndrome.
What?
It's just Google suggestions.
What are you looking up?
Animals with Down syndrome. I mean, if you haven't Googled that before, I highly recommend it.
But I will tell you, don't look at the pictures of the elephants with Down syndrome.
No, I'm gonna have to.
I mean, do what you want, man. Enter at your own risk.
She's not great, but she's not bad.
She's average. She looks like any chick I see at the mall.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, I've seen girls that look better than her at Target.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Man, she's gonna listen to this, and we're gonna look like total bitches.
Oh, what's she gonna do? Use a golf club and break out my window?
Right now I'm trying to figure out Tiger Woods' net worth. Okay, yeah, his net worth is an estimated $760 million, so he could do better.
Yeah. So, but okay, so...
Elephant. With Down syndrome. Here we go. Oh, he's adorable! Oh, he's sticking his own trunk in his mouth. That's the best. I feel like such a bad person.
No, so it's a good thing you don't have telepathy, because if you did, then you would know that I'm the worst person right now. Right now.
See, most people try to get their internet viewers and listeners to look up things like blue waffles and goatsy and lemon party, and we're like, Google animals with Down syndrome.
Yeah, because I mean, yep, yeah, yeah,
So that was a bit off topic, but it was a worthy diversion.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I told you that if you could read my mind, that you would know I was the worst person right now.
Oh, you should have just vocalized that. People are forever gonna wonder.
No.
Dude, if you watched any of Chris O'Neill's videos, you would know that we can get away with it on the internet.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah, I still need my job. Anyway, so I was like, okay, so like golf bitches, right?
Yeah.
Golf. I think golf bitches are completely different from like I mean not golf, hockey bitches.
Oh, hockey bitches. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They're all Canadian chicks.
yeah, and I think they're completely different from soccer bitches.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I know where you're wanting me to go with this.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, I think it's interesting, like just how they the wives and girlfriends of like star athletes are different depending on the sport. That's
yeah.
just kind of weird because that means it has absolutely nothing to do with the person at all
Yeah,
or their status.
It's the subculture itself.
Yeah, that's just
Just like how like hot cosplay girls at cons are totally different from any of the athlete chicks.
I just consider around like, ugh. Here comes some of those baseball bitches.
They're so basic.
Dude, now that's a Bravo show we need right there.
Baseball bitches.
Yeah. Baseball bitches and football bitches. And then they can have like a crossover or whatever. Oh man. That would be insane.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd have like the wife of like Bo Jackson be like So I'm not sure if people remember who Bo Jackson was, but he played baseball and football.
Was he?
Yeah, and I think Deion Sanders did the same thing, where he played both sports.
Yeah, I don't know sports people.
I just remember. Well, I mean, back when I was growing up, I mean, Bo Jackson was a big deal because he had all the Nike commercial, and Bo knows this and Bo knows that, and now Bo knows unemployment. I think he did something not too long ago, but anyway.
The name is definitely ringing a bell, and it's not because I know sports.
Okay, so getting back on topic here.
What kind of bitches would people with superpowers get? That's close enough to back on topic, right?
I think it would really depend on the superpower.
I could see that.
I mean, because if you're Professor X, anyone you want.
All the bitches.
I get all the bitches.
Professor X gets all the bitches.
First you get telepathy, and you get the bitches.
Step 1, get telepathy. Step 2, get bitches. Step 3, Step 4, profit.
That's right. I guess it would be like, first you get the mutant gene, then you get telepathy, then you get the women. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like if you were like a super strong guy, you would get a completely different set of bitches than you would be. Well, obviously, if you were just like a really rich or super intellect guy, well,
Can I see your babs in the gene? I'm smart, Professor Ran.
Yeah, I make Goodwill Hunting look like regular hunting, and it's like, yeah, you're definitely not getting like a Sue Richards.
I would
Anyway,
imagine the super buff guys get like the pro wrestling bitches.
I think they could do because sometimes like small like petite women like the big strong guys because
Oh no, I don't mean like female pro wrestlers. I mean like the kind of bitches that the pro wrestler guys got.
Oh yeah,
Like Hulk Hogan's wife, Macho Man's wife. Yeah, those chicks.
Okay.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, and then like if you fall into like some of the other stuff, like you can like I don't know change shape or something weird, something just different, then. But dude, I bet you Nightcrawler can hook up with some hot goth chicks. Oh man, he'd be swimming in goth stuff.
Oh yeah, he would.
Oh man, that'd be a
Yeah, I like goth chicks.
yeah. Oh, like the chick we ran into at Sheetz when we were.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
She was good stuff.
she was.
She was more like punkette than goth, but yeah, she was pretty hot.
Huh, noise. Yeah. Yep. Oh man. So anyway, yeah. But no, what I was actually going to ask is superpower. So if you can have a superpower, right? But now here's the caveat to that, right? It's a superpower, so like super strength does not necessarily give you super invulnerability.
Gotcha.
Now it would though, because of like for you to have super strength means you'd have to have an increased mass, would then mean that you that because if your mass increase, that's going to make your make you a little bit tougher, right? And denser. So you would have a slight invulnerability, but you wouldn't have like bullets bouncing off you and shit.
Yeah. So you would have like increased durability.
Right. And then we can do some things like if you did say flight, then I can say, okay, well, we'll treat flight the same way for you as a bird, where like you have the membrane that would cover your eyes and that sort of stuff.
Okay. So my answer is going to be pretty non-conventional.
Okay.
And I don't know if it necessarily counts as a superpower, but the ability I would always want would be a mastery of hammer space. And I'm sure you probably know what that is, but to define it for people who don't know what it is, hammer space is when a cartoon character reaches behind their back and pulls out a hammer out of nowhere.
I thought you wanted to buy MC Hammer's old house.
Well, no.
He had those gold gates.
Did he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen his place.
He had solid gold gates of his driveway to his house.
That's pretty awesome. But see, if I had a mastery of hammer space, I could get solid gold gates around my house.
So you'd just be able to reach behind you and just pull out a hammer.
Well, not just a hammer. The whole point of that is context sensitivity, because if you watch the old Warner Brothers cartoons or Animaniacs, they pull out what they need. If they need an anvil to make somebody lose their balance, they have it. If they need to pull out a pair of ice skates because the lake is frozen, they've got it.
Oh, so not just hammers, just anything that you need at that time, you can just reach into hammer space and pull it out.
Based off of like the Wikipedia article of what hammer space is, it's a context-sensitive access to whatever you need at the time. And when you think about that, by the definition as written, that makes it super overpowered, because what if I need exact change to buy something?
So basically what you want is you want to be a god. Okay.
Basically.
So what you want is, a bag of holding that works off your imagination.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what like all the Looney Tunes have, and they seem to get by pretty well.
I would say though that for you to have hammer space means that you would have to be a cartoon, because you have to follow cartoon physics.
I could live with that.
Okay.
I could live with that, because especially if you're going off of like the old like Animaniacs or Tiny Toons things, they had some pretty ridiculous capabilities.
All right.
You all of a sudden need to get swole and buff and flex up. You can do it.
And the only thing I'm going to do is that nah, I'm not going to be mean like that. I was going to say, but you have to be Freakazoid.
Freakazoid? Oh, dude, I would love to be Freakazoid. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I could not watch Freakazoid. All right. So if I could choose, so I'm kind of torn between two. Feeling like a fool. So first off, I'd want healing factor, not Deadpool style, right? I think I'd just be good with a nice Wolverine healing factor, right? So that's like, so I'm like that'd be fantastic, because I just think about, I wouldn't have to worry about getting sick or getting. I mean, obviously I'm still going to get hurt, but I don't have to worry about dying from it.
Yeah.
And so,
but doesn't the healing factor like prevent you from getting drunk and stuff like that?
It does.
Which I know you're not like a drinker, you don't really get drunk.
But if I had the healing factor, I would drink like a madman.
That's true, but like if you go through some really horrible, shitty piece of news and you really just want to get wasted and forget about it for a couple of days, you don't have that option.
So check this out, right? So I have my my healing factor, right? I go to like Vegas, right? Put a couple dollars down. They start giving me free drinks. I start just chugging them down, right? And of course, they're thinking I'm getting drunk and I'm getting sloppy, but I'm not.
That's a fair point. The only issue I have with the whole healing factor, or I guess it more goes hand in hand with invulnerability, but healing factor would kind of play into it as well. It would be, I've seen too much Twilight Zone to feel comfortable taking that on myself.
What, the healing factor?
Yeah. Which, like I said, it's closer to invulnerability with like what I've seen in the Twilight Zone, but healing factor would apply here too, because essentially you can't die with healing factor.
Well, I think eventually, so if you treat it like Wolverine, that eventually, though, those cells that heal you, though, they're going to get weaker over time, and they're not going to heal you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would eventually die. It would just take a long time. And of course, the more damage you do to your body, the longer it's going to take. So, for example, if let's say if I've been around for like 200 years and I've kind of I've played Lance Murdoch, Daredevil, and now I have cancer, right? Well, as the cancer's spreading, my healing factor is fighting it. It's not fighting it as effectively as it would have 50 years before.
Right.
So it's still like healing me, but maybe not as fast as, or maybe at the same rate that it's spreading.
Yeah.
So it's not getting any worse. So I'm not dying from it, but at the same time, though, I'm not getting 100% better.
Right. So I can see that. The Twilight Zone episode I'm talking about, he wished that he couldn't die. He makes a deal with the devil. He sells his soul for the devil, but it's under the context of he can't die. So he thinks that he's done like a loophole to trick the devil. It's like, well, if I can't die, he can't collect my soul. And for like years, everything's fine, and he'll just like step out into traffic and get hit by a bus and not feel a thing. And it gets to where he's really bored with life. So he kills his wife and then turns himself in. And he's like, well, since nothing else can kill me and I've tried everything and I've thrown myself from buildings and all that, I'm going to see if the electric chair can kill me. So he does everything he can to make himself appear guilty in court, hoping that he'll get the death sentence. And then his lawyer just fights like a madman for him and gets him life in prison. Well, for him, life in prison is forever because he can't die.
Right.
So he's just effectively boned himself.
Oh, he's in prison. Somebody will do that for him.
Well, I mean, the episode ends with him, like, summoning the devil again, and he's like, I guess you just need to collect my soul because I can't live in this. So the devil gets his soul at the end of it, but yeah, I mean, that's what I think of when I think of either invulnerability or healing, where it's like, sometimes you just kind of want to die. That sounds horrible. I mean, it's not to, like, advocate suicide or whatever, but there are situations where, like, not being able to experience pain isn't exactly ideal.
Well, I mean, with the healing factor, I would still experience pain. I would just be able to, that was not as whisper silent as you thought it was going to be.
My gosh, I'm sorry. It's just, we've got like the channel guide going in the background with the TV on mute, just so we have something to look at while we're talking. And one of the movie names that popped up was Lust on the Line, and it looked really bad.
Yeah, we should do a less watch on that one because that other one was so bad.
It was pretty incredible.
We should have done that one. That one was horrible.
It was incredible. For those who don't know, we're very fond of making fun of the film Paranormal Sex Experiments. Was it?
Was that Paranormal? Yeah, I think it was Paranormal Sex Experiments.
It was. It's so bad, and we saw it come up, and we were like, this looks like it'll be really shitty. We have to watch it just for the laughs, and we did, and it was so bad and so funny.
Oh yeah, God, it was so bad.
It's one of those things where it's like, you acknowledge, I'm only watching this for the nudity, but it wasn't even that good nudity.
No.
It was like really, really like mundane nudity, and it's like, I'm putting more effort into this than I would just to look it up online.
And, I think what was even worse was that we were waiting for them to get back to the shitty plot because that was more entertaining making fun of that than it was watching like the shitty like sex scenes that took way too long.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those sex scenes I think were almost The Room bad. Mm-hmm. Be like, okay, wait, how does that line up? You fucking the back of her knee? What are you like?
Why are you keeping your pants on?
That's not a wheelbarrow. That's like a go-kart. I don't know what you're doing here, guy. Anyway,
So
yeah.
last
Now-
on the line. I guess we're watching it.
Guess we're watching it. But anyway, so if not, yep, that's what that says. That is exactly what that says.
We're gonna have to start recording this. Like we're gonna have to.
Oh
Is it Neil deGrasse Tyson?
no, that's that shitty Craig Robinson.
That's that makes me sound like super racist anytime I get like two black actors confused, but I don't know, it's just like black science man with a mustache.
Well, I mean, funny story is that the first time you came over to my house, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm meeting Samuel Jackson." I was like, "Welcome to my house.
What, you mean you're not?
I'm here to talk to you about the Kurova Initiative." So, but what he really pissed me off was when he called me Lawrence Fishburne.
It's an honest mistake. Okay?
I'm the what's in your wallet guy. Anyway, so if not the healing factor, right? What I would really want is telekinesis.
Yeah, I could see that being pretty awesome.
So the reason I want telekinesis is, one, with telekinesis I can lift pretty much any object I want.
Yeah,
I can fly.
because you're lifting yourself.
Yep. I can create a telekinetic force field to surround myself or to push objects away, and obviously I can bring objects to me. The hardest thing about that would be because I'm lifting things with my mind, right, and not actually use my physical strength, I could probably get pretty chunky.
Possibly.
And since I'm like moving things with my mind, right, I'm like, oh, I need another Gatorade from the fridge. Here it is. It's coming to me now. And I'm just like, I would be like that episode of South Park when they were playing World of Warcraft and they're like,
Right.
there's a, hopefully, so one of the series that I love is Wild Cards, the Wild Cards series, edited by George R. R. Martin. Mosaic novels written by all kinds of different things. They're fantastic.
I've heard good things about them.
Oh, dude, I love them. I am like 10 books behind. I think I read all the way up to book 10 or so. And they're actually starting to put them on, doing audiobooks of them now because they're re-releasing a lot of them. So as they're re-releasing them, they're doing audiobooks of the newer ones. But they've even gone even further and stuff. But anyway, one of the characters in it, one of my favorite characters, should be. So there's two. There's Croyd Crimson, who's like my all-time favorite character in the Wild Card series, Croyd and Yeoman, but the other one is a guy called the Great and Powerful Turtle, and he's the Great and Powerful Turtle is so cool. He's a guy that develops telekinesis, and through the stuff that happens and when everyone starts getting abilities and stuff, not everybody does, but when people start getting abilities, and he starts to work on that, like, lifting things up and getting stronger, getting his TK stronger.
Yeah.
And a friend of his, I think his dad owns a junkyard, and one of the things in like this like junkyard or auto like junkyard or whatever is it was an old VW Beetle, and I think that there was like some kind of military, like a tank or something like that. Anyway, they ended up taking the plates off of the tank and welded them to this Beetle, and then outfitted it with some cameras on the outside and hooked it up. But basically, he would fly around using his telekinesis to lift this thing up and fly it around through the city, and he would fight crime using his telekinesis to like pick people up. And inside they because he went through a couple different ones, but inside they had the cameras on the outside so we could kind of see. He had monitors in there. He would have like a microwave and a couple other things. He would basically stay in this thing all the time.
Yeah.
And would just fly around it. So he had to have everything he needed kind of in there. And it was kind of cool. And like the people, I'm not going to go into the whole Wild Cards thing. You really want to know, you should read it for yourself because it's outstanding. But
Yeah, I'm hoping to start reading them soon.
But the people that saw him didn't know if he was an ace or a joker, meaning if he was like a hero, like a regular hero person, or if he had been mutated but still had abilities. And so to the Jokers, he was a Joker, and to the others, he was a hero. But no one knew what he really looked like because he was just in that big thing. He just called himself the Great and Powerful Turtle, which was just awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the superpower. So I either want to have telekinesis because I just think it'd be so cool just to be able to use my TK to do shit like, oh, I can lift that with one hand. Like check that out. That would just to freak people out and stuff. So yeah, either healing factor or telekinesis.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think of the hammer space and think about the mask.
Oh,
And maybe closer to the comics than the film, but there's a lot of application with that character. A lot of application with those abilities. Conquers bad fur day, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, guess I need a gas mask now.
I have other questions about how hammer space would work, but I don't think we really need to get that technical into it.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of run off of cartoon logic, so.
Right, so that's what I was thinking, so I smash something and, does it stay smashed or does it go back to being normal or does it really depend on whether or not I want it to?
I would guess that it probably runs off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit logic. It's like, it'll do whatever you want it to do as long as it's funny.
Oh.
I mean, it's like you said, I'm kind of sentencing myself to function like a cartoon character by doing that, so I would say that kind of has to apply.
Okay.
No, I couldn't slip out of the cuffs anytime I wanted to, just when it was funny. So it's like, oh, I mean, no, that's not going to break now.
Right.
There's no need for it to break now because you won't get a laugh out of it.
Well, that's our talk about superpowers.
So yeah, just send us a letter, a postcard, telling us what your superpower would be, and we'll read your postcard.
Yeah. Oh, and sponsors. Forgot all about our sponsors.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, which
sorry,
is
sponsors.
yeah. So I guess this will be a free one. But that's one of the great things about our sponsors is, and with our content, we don't necessarily say this is what our topic's going to be about, or these are the topics we're going to do. Which ones do you want to sponsor? You're like, hey, we want to sponsor one of your shows. So if obviously we don't give a good sponsorship in there, then we don't get any we don't really get anything for that one. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so I guess we'll do a sponsor next time or whatever. Anyway, so yeah.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening. Be sure to check us out next time.
Yeah. Thanks, moms.
Bye.
Bye.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.